Monday through Thursday? Okay.
All right, that'll be good. Did you fix your nephew's house or niece's house? You've seen it though, haven't you?
We're on. Do you have this list? You need that one. Up there.
That's a good thing I'm nosy, isn't it? I'm glad you told me where it was at.
Oh, oh, good.
Yeah. All right, well, I'll see you in the morning. All right. Bye.
Chairman, the Reverend Hines is chair of the meeting. Reverend Hines is chair of the meeting tonight, as well, just a couple minutes.
Oh, okay.
They had a architect just your grandchildren.
Two of them, I got a brand new one that came in Friday, another one.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I told her up in the home so she could cut the grass.
That's sweet. I love my grandma John. I don't even like my children anymore. I love grandchildren.
Seven, oh, two.
We call this meeting to order. We welcome each of you here, sharing with us as we continue to do business for the counties that we live in. And my name is Wayne Hines, Vice Chair. Mr. Lamb Which were you? Okay. And we're so glad that you are here. Let me begin by introducing each other. And my name is Wayne Hines, 7th District County Commissioner.
I'm Eric Evans, the county manager.
Donald Wall, District 6.
District 1.
Billy Wooten, District 4.
Natalie Best, Deputy County Manager.
Michael Peters, County Attorney.
Steve Ellis, Superintendent, Nash County Public Schools.
Franklin Lamb, Nash County Board of Education.
Bill Sharp, Board of Education, District 5.
Fran Mungo, President, Board of Education.
Tremaine McQueen, the Executive Director of Technology.
Chris Catalano, the Executive Director of Communications.
To each of you, welcome. Let me ask if Mr. Evans will begin our meeting with his presentation.
Certainly, Reverend Hines. And Mr. Lamb, I'm assuming you need to call your meeting to order as well.
Yes, I'd like to call the Nash County Board of Education to order. I've been assured that we have a quorum present. I'd like to thank Edgecombe County for granting us this opportunity to be before you tonight. Your hospitality is always appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. And as I get ready to make my way to the podium, just a little logistics about the meeting tonight. I believe, Chairman Lamb, you have board members that are participating virtually. So the microphones that you have in front of you is really to pick up our voices for those that are listening in. So if you would, when you do speak, if you will try to speak and project towards the microphones, as much for us in here, but more importantly for those that are listening in virtually. All right, thank you. Again, good evening, and appreciate the opportunity to we appreciate the opportunity for us to gather as we have been for a few years now annually to share information between the Board of Commissioners, Edgecombe, the Nash County School Board. It's my pleasure to be able to give you an update on some of the things that we have been working on, some accomplishments, some of our challenges that we have faced as a county in the last year. I purposely made my presentation relatively short because I think the main gist of our business tonight is to hear from the Superintendent, Dr. Ellis, on the budget request and make sure to give our board opportunity to ask questions and the two boards to discuss. So with that in mind, I'll proceed. So just as a year in review, of course, this past year plus has been a year just consumed with and dominated by COVID-19. We as an organization, our operations, we've had to make fairly major adjustments. For a short period of time, we closed our operations to in-person business. We would never shut the county down. We certainly can't do that. And over time, we gradually started opening our facilities back up to the public. But nevertheless, it's been quite a challenge for us. But I totally understand that the adjustments that we have had to make pale in comparison to what the school systems, including Nash County school system, has had to do in order to figure out how to best protect the students and the staff, as well as to be able to continue to educate our children. And I realize that challenge is not yet behind you or behind us. So again, I applaud you for your efforts in addressing that. Just sort of put it in perspective. We've been in this pandemic for a little over a year now. On March the 3rd of last year was the first case of COVID in the state of North Carolina. Of course, I believe it was in the state of Washington that the first case in the U.S. showed up not too long before that. We were all waiting for it to make its way here to North Carolina. We saw our first case here in the state on March the 3rd. And then just a few weeks later, on March the 27th, we had our first case here in the county. Of course, that news was devastating and troubling to us. We were figuring out, what does that mean? What are we going to do? And how's all of this going to proceed? But certainly at that time, I don't think any of us would have figured that it would have gotten as bad as it has been, and that we will be addressing this for as long as we have. Today, and actually these numbers are dated a few days, globally, from the first case in North Carolina, March 3rd, 2020, globally, there are now over 154 million positive cases around the world and 3.2 million deaths. In North Carolina, you see we've had 12,700 deaths, and in Edgecombe County, from March 27th of last year till here recently, we've had 116 deaths in Edgecombe County. So, you know, this pandemic has certainly taken us further than we ever would have anticipated. We're all still trying to figure out the full impact of it on us and how we do business and serve our citizens. We are fortunate now that we do have a vaccine available. Of course, there are 3 vaccines that have been approved and available. In Edgecombe County, there are a total of 9 providers that are offering the vaccine. Our health department was the first online to be able to do that. We've been consistently providing vaccinations at both our clinics in here in Tarboro and in Rocky Mount as well. Up until recently, we were doing that 5 days a week. Now the demand has slowed down considerably, not just for us, but you know, across the U.S. and around the world, I'm assuming. And so now we are down to 2 days, but certainly there's plenty of places where folks can get it, and we encourage people to do so. In Edgecombe County, 13,489 first doses have been administered, not just by the health department, but by all of the providers that are offering. Also, a major task for us this past year has been the transition of emergency medical services in-house to the county. Prior to years ago, it was actually provided by several volunteer rescue agencies. That was consolidated some years back to one agency, Edgecombe County Rescue Squad, a separate nonprofit organization. And over a couple of years, we started to see that we felt it was best to plan for bringing that in-house just for long-term stability and sustainability. And so we started making plans for that last year, and we transitioned to, they became our employees, and our first official day of operating emergency medical services was January the 21st. Since then, we've been able to purchase some new vehicles and new equipment. For the previous organization, that was something that they were having a difficult time to do. We bring that stability to it. And we've also hired 80 full-time and part-time staff. So we have 4 EMS stations that are operational 24/7. And we're glad to now have these fine folk as Edgecombe County employees. So that was a major undertaking for us. And we're glad to at least be on this side of that transition. This past year, we have seen some successes in economic development. We have the pleasure tonight of being seated here, I guess in the greater part of Kingsborough Industrial Park. And this is something that our board had a vision for a little over 20 years ago, and decided to first start to gain control of land through options, then as much as possible purchase land. And over that 20-year period, we've been able to purchase, or the county's been able to purchase, a great part of what we know as Kingsborough Industrial Park. And so having that vision of trying to create a premier park, not just here in the county or just here in eastern North Carolina, but really across the state and in the southeastern region, that could be competitive to large industrial recruits. Our board has made that consistent investment to here in the park. In the last few years, though we certainly, this is not our first success. You see businesses just across the street and up the street here that have been here for some time, but we have seen it go to sort of a next level over the last couple of years. A part of that success has been the construction of the distribution center for Corning, which is just, if you were to go up here on Kingsborough Road and turn right on 64 alternate, you'll see their distribution center, which is fully operational now. They've got around 150 employees. They are doing well. Not only is it a place that's providing 150 new jobs, there's the potential for expansion of that in the future. In fact, they received some land in addition to what they needed for this facility to be prepared for expansion in the future. And of course, Corning is a company that's been around for a very long time. It's literally a household name. And so having that presence here in Kingsborough certainly elevates our stock here, in addition to the businesses that are already located here. So we're very happy to see the work that Corning has done here and for them to be a good corporate partner. I realize all of that is probably difficult, if not impossible, to read from your seat, but we also have had some success with the CSX Intermodal project that's just outside city limits of Rocky Mount on the Edgecombe County side. That was something that we've been working at for a long time. We were able to lure them away from other places they were considering and been planning for that for a long time. And construction was started on that last year. That facility will have a total of 3 cranes that will move crates, containers from a truck to a train or from a train to a truck. One of those cranes has already been erected. There's a crew out there now that's working on the other 2, and we're hoping that's going to be operational sometime before the end of this calendar year. So not only is that a tremendous addition to our portfolio here in and of itself, but also what that does as far as elevating the interest of companies to the area of being that close to an intermodal site for a facility that can significantly cut down the transportation costs of many businesses. So we're excited to see the progress of CSX Intermodal. Finally, will be just up the road here. If you were to cross over 64 bypass here on Kingsborough, there you'll see that there is a new service road or industrial access road that goes across the park. It actually comes out the other side of 64 alternate. There at the corner of Kingsborough Road and this new industrial road, which we're happy to say that this board voted a couple of meetings ago to recommend that road to be named after our chairman, Mr. Leonard Wiggins. It will be, we expect, Leonard Wiggins Parkway. That there is a company, Eastern Petroleum, that has purchased land, and this is a model of what they expect this facility to look like. It's going to be a convenience store with a restaurant, but also a truck stop to take advantage of the truck traffic. It's already traveling up and down 64 bypass, also 64 alternate, as well as to be able to do business with the truck traffic that's coming into the companies that are already here and eventually Triangle Tire, we hope. And so that sort of changes the perspective a little bit as to how we are looking at Kingsborough Industrial Park. And in fact, I have to train myself to stop calling it an industrial park. We now call it a business park, meaning that not only are we trying to recruit industrial clients, but also business clients. In fact, we have an investment company that is looking at and considering building housing at Kingsborough at a strategic location. And so we're excited about that. We've got a number of other prospects that are looking at other parcels here in the park. So we're very pleased as to the progress. Also, I'm very excited and proud to have some additions to our executive team. Ms. Natalie Best, who is here tonight, is recently hired deputy county manager, and she's off to a great start. And she was with us previously as our disaster recovery director, left us to go and manage the town of Pine Tops. Glad to have her back on the team as our deputy county manager. Also, Mr. Mike Matthews, who's seated at the back of the room. Mike was our utilities director for about 14 years, I believe, and then he was promoted to assistant county manager. And so but between us three and Mr. Peters and Fran, my executive assistant, but also clerk to the board is our executive team. And so we're glad to have that internal capacity to develop, really to help take Edgecombe County to the next level, not just to manage the county that we are now, but to manage the county that we are about to become. So just wanted to recognize them and as a new addition to our team. Briefly, I want to mention just a couple of things, really 3 things I think it is, as far as some challenges that we face. And I mentioned these things really only so that as we consider the budget request, not just from Nash County Schools, but also from all of our outside agencies, even from our internal departments, we don't make those decisions in a vacuum as just to what does that outside agency need, or what does that department need, or what does this school system need, or Edgecombe County school system, what it needs. But we also have to look at that in light of, in face of the challenges that we have to deal with as an organization. And one of those are the physical demands of county operations with little growth in revenues. And so, we've seen revenues to increase slightly in years past. The pandemic has sort of tapered that back some. But, we're in a county that we don't have new revenue streams that are popping up every day. And so we're pretty much trying to figure out how to stretch that dollar just a little bit further every year as we're working on a budget, which is what we're doing right now. So that's just one of the challenges that we face. Also, the growing needs of outside agencies we support, both the school systems and other outside agencies. As things cost more and more challenging for us as an organization, you're facing that, and everyone else that we help to fund is facing that as well. And we recognize that. And we want to do our very best to be good partners, to make good investments in the agencies that we partner with, but that becomes a challenge as well. Also, I just want to mention that, there's stiff competition in the labor force these days. I don't know how much this impacts the school system, but with having, COVID and the pandemic aside, prior to the pandemic, we have relatively low unemployment, and therefore the pickings are fairly slim when we're trying to hire and retain employees. And so, we have the challenge of competing with every county that surrounds us. And folks don't mind driving, crossing 2 or 3 counties to work every day. And so, and for some positions, we're competing with private industry. Just as an example, it's difficult for us to get and keep a truck driver in some of our departments. Truck drivers are in such high demand and such low supply. So we see those challenges as well. And those are all the things that we have to juggle as we're trying to make budgetary decisions. But again, I wanted to keep my presentation relatively brief, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that either of the 2 boards might have. Yes, sir.
Mr. Evans, real quick, on one of the slides you talked about the COVID vaccine, and you actually have first dose today on over 13,000. What percentage is the overall count?
Well, our population in Edgecombe County is right at about 53,000. I'm not good at math in my head, standing on my feet. And, the state of North Carolina, you probably have heard the governor say that shooting for a goal of having 2/3 of the population to be vaccinated so that maybe we can take these off and do some other things. Certainly, we've got a ways to go across the state. We've got a ways to go here in the county. And we just encourage people to get it. There are plenty of places to get it now. If you don't feel comfortable coming to the health department, you can go to one of the drugstores or vice versa. Yes, sir. You're welcome. Any other questions? All right. If not, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you so much, Mr. Evans. May we listen to Dr. Ellis for his presentation? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
look at you first and see if we're ready. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Steve Ellis. I'm Superintendent of Nash County Public Schools. And I want to thank you for the invite tonight. I remember last year it was like we were in a room and I didn't get to meet you. I told someone that's probably the hardest job is to look at a screen and explain a budget and try to, it's just not the way to do it. So hopefully, like Eric said, we can get rid of these one day. Thankfully, I've been vaccinated, so we'll see. But I appreciate you inviting us tonight and your continued support. So tonight we'll share the capital projects. We've got a local budget and proposed recommendations for next year. And it has been a tough year due to the pandemic. However, we have been able to move forward with some projects. And what I'd like to do is highlight a few of those tonight. I have two members of the Nash team on Zoom right now. And Shannon Davis, the Executive Director of Facilities and Maintenance, will be presenting the capital projects. And Ms. Joyce Jarrett, the Executive Director of School Finance, will be dealing with the budget. So Shannon, if you're on, if you can chime in.
Good evening. Before I get started, make sure you can hear me.
Hang on, there's an issue with sound. Shannon, try now.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Shannon,
Yes, sir.
sound check.
You're able to hear me?
Keep talking.
Are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me?
Turn it on.
All right, Shannon, try now.
All right, can you hear me now?
I can.
Okay, great. To start with, when COVID vacated our campuses last March, it was a trying time, but it did allow me and my staff to get ahead of some projects that would normally be hard to do with kids in the building. And to start with, you'll see Mar B. Hubbard is school on your left slide here. This is the new VRF system that we've started installing on a lot of our campuses where we have enough windows for outside air. We piloted this new VRF system at DS Johnson about 4 or 5 years ago. So their entire campus was completed with this project, and that was the pilot school. It has worked very well for us throughout the district. Mar B. Hubbard, we're currently installing in the 200 and 300 wing. Started last year. We're hoping to work through the 300 wing and the 200 wing by the end of next fiscal year. On the right top, you'll see Southern Ashe High School. That's part of my team. We have, over the last 5 years, renovated the mechanical in all of the classrooms, with the exception of one, which will be completed this year. The bottom picture shows the 10-ton VRF that we completed in the office area last April. Next slide, Mr. McQueen. You'll see here Northern Nash. We also completed this office area with the new VRF. You can see the office area was basically destroyed with the light ceilings and the mechanical equipment. You'll look at the bottom screen, that's the completed with new LED lighting and the VRF cassette sitting in the center. The beauty of this system is we can run heat and air in different offices. Every office has one of these cassettes. It's 21 SEER, and the energy efficiency is well beyond that of chiller boilers, which is what we're trying to remove. Top screen and bottom screen are final renovations of the hallways at Southern Ashe High School. As I said, we've basically completed that entire campus. The old building is renovated. Next slide. You'll see here Spring Hope Elementary School. The top left is a restroom where we've installed the VRF along with suspended ceilings. The bottom is the foyer of the gymnasium. We installed the VRF with LED lights in the ceilings there. The top right, you'll see the existing gym windows. They're the old windows, and the bottom screen is the newly installed windows, the more energy efficient. The far right screen, we also removed all the bleachers, the old bleachers. You'll see the sock duct in the air. We installed HVAC in the gym. It only had heat, but now it has air conditioning. You'll look at the floor. We've got sand and refinished the floor. And we also installed LED lighting. Next slide. You'll see the far left was the gymnasium at Southern Nash High. That was one of the last pieces we installed last year. That piece exactly was contracted out. We didn't do that in-house. The middle screen are the bleachers. We started in the high schools about 5 years ago. We went through all the high schools, or Northern and Southern, they were our oldest schools, renovating the bleachers. Then we went down through all of our middle schools, got all the bleachers and gym floors sanded and refinished at all of our middle schools. And then we started last year with the elementary schools. You can see here Middlesex, when we had the renovation there, we didn't do the bleachers, but the floor was refinished. So we installed the bleachers this past year. We also, at Cooper's Elementary School, you can see on the far right picture, their new bleachers and the gym floor has been sanded and refinished. Next slide. We've been working a lot on mechanical and some roofing projects over the last several years. We haven't completed an awful lot of asphalt overlay. Over spring break this year, we did complete Hubbard parking lot on your far left, Nash Central Middle School staff parking lot. It was completed over spring break, and Northern Nash High was completed this past summer, phase 2, which was a student parking lot. We did complete the phase 1, which would have been the turn-in circle in the front staff lot last year. This coming year, we also have Fairview Johnson staff parking lot, and we also have Rocky Mountain Middle. Next slide. This is some of our roofing projects we completed this past year. This is Nash Central High School, the 2-story. It's hard to believe this campus is going on 20 years old. So that's a 20-year roof. We have had to start replacing that single ply membrane. Williford Elementary, again, is an older campus with a 20-year shingle. We started replacing, or we did replace the 100 wing this past year. And Fairview Elementary, again, a 20-year shingle. We completed phase 1 this past year and have phase 2 going to be taking place this summer. Next slide. Red Oak Elementary School. This has been a school we've been working on for several years. We have a substantial completion date of November 2022. And phase 2 will be completed in May of 2022. And we're happy to let everyone know we are planning on breaking ground on June 1st, in just a few short weeks. Next slide. And also we're getting ready in the next week or two to put out an RFQ for Northern Nash Fieldhouse. Northern Nash is the last school that doesn't have a new field house. Nash Central, when the school was built, has one. Southern Nash High, we completed back 9 years ago. Rocky Mount High has one, so we're getting ready to finish off field houses at the high school with an RFQ here in the next couple of weeks.
This time, Ms. Jarrett, are you on?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
All righty, we can hear you.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to share with you the 2021-22 local budget for Nash County Public Schools. Before you, you have the appropriation that has been provided to us. And to that, we have added what we estimate the fines and forfeitures to be based on historical data. And because interest has, no instruments are earning a lot of interest, we have projected a smaller amount for that. So the total that we are working, we have actually allocated is $23,592,614. So where are the funds being spent? Right now, the local budget, our plans and our allocations we're keeping the salaries that we are paying now. The positions actually, but that we're paying 14 positions out of local now. All supplements are paid out of local, regardless of where the gross wages are paid. Gross wages may be paid out of state funds. They may be paid out of federal funds. And as I said, 14 positions are paid out of local. Those supplements for those individuals are all paid out of local. And to that, we have to add FICA and retirement on those supplement payments, as well as the medical cost for those 14 positions. Then the total of salaries, supplements, and extra due to pay, plus the required FICA, retirement, and medical cost totals $13,173,288. Then we have our purchase services, which are all of the contracts that we may have or the insurance products that we have for our automobile fleet, for property casualty. Those are considered purchase services, as well as telephone maintenance contracts such as those. And we're estimating that to be $6,725,618. Supplies and materials are those things that we, regular supplies. We may have gas for transportation and other items that they may need, or maintenance supplies, or just in general, instructional supplies that we need, or office supplies. All of that total that will be funded out of locals, $2,043,708. And then we have the transfers to charter schools. And we estimate that to be $1,650,000. Total, all expenditures, $23,592,614. Now, these numbers may change because, the allocation portion, moving from purchase services or supplies and materials to the required employer provided benefits. And I say that because we do not know at this time what the retirement rate will be, or the medical cost. And again, because we do have the 14 people paid out of local, those increases would be factored on and added to that. And then also the FICA, the retirement cost increase would be calculated on the supplements that were paid as well. So we would have to reallocate once that is known. Next slide, please. So the amount that we have will be provided for capital outlay funding. And I have provided this year's funding compared to next year. And we have, from Mr. Davis, he has provided his expectation of a proposal of how he is planning to spend or use the funding for capital outlay. With the general renovations to elementary schools at $220,138. General renovations, middle high school, $70,000. HVAC upgrades, $341,143. Roof replacement and repair, $570,000. Paving and gravel at $211,000. Carpeting at $60,000. Playground safety equipment $15,000. Other safety upgrades, $15,000. And purchasing 2 vehicles, for the maintenance department, $60,000. And other capitalized equipment, $15,000, with a total of $1,577,281. Next slide, please. We are the federal government, the state is providing additional COVID or ESSER funding that is multi-year, but we are following the policy that goes with all of this funding. And we're receiving it in 2 different program codes. ESSER 2 with an amount of $16,419,872 with the term from 2022 to 2023. ESSER 3, we will receive $36,782,442. The term 2023 to 2024. These seem like a lot of dollars, but we have looked at all of the needs for the district, and to some, the use of the money that it will be used for learning loss, air quality improvement, transportation, teacher support, technology. And we follow the state guidelines and the state, everything that the state stipulates of how this money is to be used. Next slide, please. The superintendent has provided the next couple of slides for information for the request for his financial request for 2021-2022 academic year. Next slide, please. First request is for increase in the certified local supplement. As I said, all persons who receive supplements, their supplements are paid out of local funds. And we've provided to you the cost associated with a 1% increase, 1.5% increase, and a 2% increase. We'll start with the 1% increase. Yes. The total, we're showing the certified positions here, and this is certified teachers. Then we have the assistant principals and the principals with a total cost we estimate, with including FICA and retirement, of $656,425. Next column, we anticipate, if we are allowed or provided a 1.5% increase in the supplement, that this would cost $984,636. If approved for a 2% increase, the supplement would cost $1,312,849. Next slide, please. The superintendent is requesting also salary increases, not supplement, but salary increases for non-certified. And since our last meeting, after discussion, the superintendent had requested that we look at showing the actual, we had included in clerical in our previous presentation last Thursday, the technology department and custodians. So I listed those separately so that they can be seen. That was a question last Thursday. So we have bus drivers and monitors, child nutrition, clerical, meaning all of the support staff or administrative staff, clerical administrative staff, those supporting the different departments. We have custodians, the maintenance, teacher assistants, technology department, and those working in transportation. So a 1% increase for the total of all of those would be $264,000 $1,481. And that is including the current regular FICA and current retirement, as we have concluded in all of our calculations previously. Next column, if we are allowed a 1.5% salary increase, the amount would be $396,722. And lastly, a 2% increase in salary would be $528,963. So these are the financial requests for the 2021-2022 academic year, budget year. Thank you.
So, thank you. And if there's any questions, I'll be glad my team possibly could answer some of those right now. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good
I was
evening.
noticing the capital improvements. I only saw one school on the Edgecombe County side of Rocky Mount with any capital improvements. Do you have a list of the last 5 years? What's happened with those 4 schools on the Edgecombe County side of Rocky Mount for capital improvement?
Mr. Davis, are you online?
Yes, sir, I am.
Can you speak to that question?
I can. There are actually 2 projects. One is at Fairview. It's replacing phase 2 of the shingles. The second is Johnson Elementary, and that's the joint parking lot between Fairview and Johnson Overland Staff parking lot. So there are 2 projects in Edgecombe County this year. Also, this past year, the slides you just saw did not show every project that was completed this year in Edgecombe County. These were their major projects. And we also installed camera systems on the exterior of the buildings, which was completed with in-house labor as well at Baskerville, Fairview, and DS Johnson. We also re-landscaped both campuses at Johnson and Fairview as well. And I do have a list of projects completed in the last 5 years. Mechanical wise, going back 15-16 to 2021, we've spent $535,278 in mechanical upgrades on the 4 campuses in Edgecombe. Other projects, which would be anything else other than mechanical, $473,520 for a total of $1,008,798. And these are just the projects that I've captured. I'm not going to tell you that this is everything, but these are projects that we have captured in capital outlay over the last 5 years.
I ask the board. Mr. Lamb, as the chair, have you visited all 4 of those campuses on the Edgecombe County side
Yes, ma'am.
and viewed all those needs or repairs needed?
I've visited most of them. I have not visited all of them.
Now, Mr. Superintendent, now the funds that are sent from Edgecombe County, are those only the funds that you use to work on capital improvements for those 4 schools, or is some added from out of the coffers? Or do you just use that amount?
I'm assuming, are you just saying your side of the money coming in? Is that?
Right.
We
Is
bet
that all
Ms.
the money you use on those 4 schools, or it's just part of it?
I'm assuming, Ms. Jarrett and Mr. Davis, I'm assuming we lump all that money into capital projects and we go as need basis. Am I correct?
Yes.
That is correct. For instance, let me just say, the year we completed DS Johnson, where you guys may have funded 180-some thousand, a portion of that goes to debt service. We spent almost 400-some thousand, almost $500,000 on that campus in a 2-year period. So, and that was upgrading the lighting, the ceiling, what we're doing on the other campuses. We spent more money than was allocated, but it was over a 2-year period. But when I budget, it is on an as needed basis. Every campus in Edgecombe, the mechanical equipment has been updated in the last 10 years, I know. Parker is the only campus that we really need to start, and we've had the gymnasium engineered to start pulling that mechanical system and start replacing it.
Either one of the superintendent of the board can ask this before. A joint meeting happened evidently with the county commissioner chairs. What were your answer or response when the Nash County commissioner said that they were not going to put any more money into capital projects on Edgecombe County side?
Excuse me, who?
In a meeting with Nash County Chair, Edgecombe Chair, and I believe may have been the chair of the school board or superintendent. The chair said they weren't going to put any more money in capital improvements on those schools on Edgecombe County sides. Did you have a response? Were either of you there?
Well, we still rely on our maintenance department to put the projects together and finish the projects, no matter what is said, because he's got an outline of the projects that need to be finished, and we educate all kids. We don't educate Nash County kids, Edgecombe County kids, we educate all. But during that conversation, a lot of times people forget that when we first merged, that Fairview Early Childhood Center was the first school built after we merged. That's totally forgot in a lot of conversations.
I don't think we've forgotten that.
Any more questions?
What is your current supplement? I'm just sitting here trying to remember.
Teachers, 10%.
10%. So you're going anywhere from 11 to 12.
Correct.
So this projection is not based on the governor's proposed 5% pay increase?
No, sir. Because that would be I'm assuming he's requesting the bonus and we're trying to just stick with the supplement piece of it. Is there any more questions? I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Evans, and thank you, Dr. Ellis, for your presentations. Are there any other questions coming for us?
No other business from us, Mr. Vice Chair.
Okay. Ms. Lamb, anything else?
Y'all have any more questions? Any other board members have any questions?
I make a motion that we adjourn as the Edgecombe County Board of Commissioners.
Second.
Moving proper second that we adjourn as board members for Edgecombe County. All in favor, let me know by voting sign of aye. Those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. I make a motion that we adjourn the Nash County Board of Education. Motion is second by Mr. Sharp. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you.
Thank each of you. Adjourn.